Hello, everyone. This is Alan Whitford from RCEURO, another of our recruitment thought leader conversations. And today we're joined by Stéphane Le Viet from Work for Labs. Hi, how are you today, Stéphane?
Very good, Alan. How are you?
Very good. Look, really happy to be chatting with you. You guys are joining us next week at the Social Recruiting Conference 2010 in London as one of our sponsors. Really thankful for that and looking forward to seeing what you're doing. So why don't you maybe tell us a little bit about, well, who you are and what it is exactly that Work for Labs does?
Sure. So yeah, I'm the co-founder of Work for Labs. Work for Labs is basically, the Facebook recruiting solution. What we do exactly is really sort of provide companies with a way to post jobs on their Facebook page. So let's take, a company like L'Oreal, for instance. They have a Facebook page which they invest a lot of money on. And they're able with our application to add a tab which has all their jobs available for candidates. I think the key aspect of what we do is essentially enable companies to have a full career website onto Facebook and have the candidate experience in turn be fully within Facebook. So just as a matter of context, the application was launched about 6 months ago. We work with about 4,000 companies all over the world, from the US to the UK to more sort of remote geographies in Asia and Eastern Europe and so on. So it's doing well. We're very happy with it.
That's really neat. Now, why is that different than a lot of companies say, well, we can post our jobs to Facebook, to our page, either through our ATS or maybe through a multi-poster? Why is what the Work for Us application do? Why is that different?
Well, so I think there are really three dimensions to it. One is, again, we want the application to be more than a list of jobs on Facebook. A lot of what ATS, most ATS do is offer their clients an RSS feed or just a list, the ability to have a list of jobs, of links essentially on their Facebook page, rather than have the full job description and the full candidate experience within Facebook. I think that's one. B, which is very closely linked to point one, is that we have included a number of very social features to the jobs. We think that just having jobs on Facebook is, it's the starting point. If you're not able to allow candidates to recommend jobs to their friends, to like jobs and, propagate them, you're sort of not leveraging Facebook and the platform in a way that sort of, can create value for your company. So, point two is really sort of leveraging social features and having as many interactions with the, between candidates and jobs as possible to have some form of propagation. Point three is that we work very closely with Facebook. I was, last week in our office in San Francisco, meeting and spending a lot of time with the Facebook guys, especially on the product development side. Our application in its look and feel looks very much like Facebook. You're not feeling like you're somewhere else. You're really feeling, in terms of colors, in terms of just overall graphics, that you're still within Facebook. And also, we work very closely with the Facebook ads team. So, one key aspect of our application is once your jobs are online, you're able to create Facebook ads campaign totally automatically that will target candidates that are relevant to your jobs to point them and generate traffic to your Work for Us application on Facebook. Just to give you an example, we've done that with L'Oreal, for instance, which was extremely successful. They've had over 50 million views of their ads, over 11,000 clicks on their job ads, and that's generating a lot of very relevant and targeted traffic just because they are targeting schools, for instance. So they will target people who are, have attended, Berkeley and have majored in computer science for everything that's IT related at L'Oreal. And so you're generating, very good traffic and very relevant traffic at a fairly limited cost.
Well, that sounds obviously, very incredible. The integration, I think, is right. Not much sense having a Facebook job page if it doesn't do the things that I'm used to doing on Facebook, because I'm just going to leave that page.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. What I find interesting is obviously you talked a lot about the U.S. and you've developed this both in the U.S. and I guess from your base in Europe. We see Facebook being used more and more for employment in the U.S., but how have you been finding it here in France or in other parts of Europe? Is it starting to be used, or is it more still, say, Viadeo in France or one of the other social sites?
Right. So I think, there are two questions there. One is, how do we position ourselves, versus the LinkedIn, Viadeos, and Zings of the world. I think from that point of view, we really think that Facebook is a totally different way of using social networks to recruit. If you take Viadeo or LinkedIn. It's really recruiters going to candidates and sort of searching for candidates, as opposed to sort of candidates looking for jobs or viewing ads that are relevant to them and then going to jobs. The key challenge that LinkedIn faces really is the inability to actually drive candidates back to the site, which is not an issue that Facebook faces because with 1 out of every 4 pages in the U.S. being a page viewed on Facebook, they have so much traffic that you're basically able at any given point on any given day to basically touch target huge amounts of people that are relevant for your job. So it's sort of the other way around. Candidates viewing jobs as opposed to going to the candidates on a LinkedIn or a Viadeo. So I think that's point one. Point two is that in terms of just the behavior, it's funny how things changed since 2009, to be honest. And obviously, different geographical markets have different ways of behaving. But just overall, in 2009, a lot of recruiters were saying, Facebook and recruiting, never, essentially. I think we've seen a big change this year. I think, it's part due to the fact that Facebook has reached, traffic and number of users that are basically, you can't really avoid it anymore. You're sort of thinking, how can I avoid such a huge pool of people that are sort of spending so much time on the site? And then part two is also just, getting used to the actual site and just understanding that you can use Facebook for recruiting by not, without intruding into, users' profile or anything. You can actually post content proactively as a recruiter and have candidates view your content, and it can be jobs, it can be something else. But I think sort of recruiters have realized this. Then on the countryside, I mean, Alan, you're very right. I think the markets we see as the most mature are really the U.S. and Australia, to be honest, in terms of using social recruiting and really embracing it. I think in Europe it's a bit slower, but it's still pretty significant. Frankly, I think again on Facebook there was a lot of negativity last year, and now it's really picking up, and more and more companies are embracing it. And I think actually most companies are trying to have a very global type strategy. Most of our clients are using the app in multiple countries as opposed to just doing in local initiative.
And what I think is going to be interesting, Stéphane, is yes, it's great. Companies are saying, "Hey, we got to try these things. We got to engage them. We've got to try these other methods, add those to our direct sourcing models that we've already been building." And we're going to see a lot of that in the discussions at the conference on Tuesday of people having coming at it from different angles.
Yeah.
I still see some challenges, though, in that the prospective candidates may not necessarily be so interested yet in engaging about employment via Facebook. Certainly we're still seeing in the UK some fairly strong resistance to that, of people saying, hey, no, Facebook is my personal space, leave me alone. But on the other hand, as you say, I don't want to get a crystal ball out because 2 years ago nobody in the U.S. was using Facebook for employment either.
Right.
So it can evolve.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think again, it's sort of coming back to the fact that, do you as a company want to, just push content out there? So if you take American Apparel is a very good example. They're a brand. Obviously, they're a bit of a troubled brand in the U.S., but still, they have a strong brand. They have over 300,000 fans on their page. They've added the Workforce app. And they found that it's just an amazing recruiting channel because you're actually having 300,000 fans, people that are pretty young, that like your brand and that are sort of very directly related to the positions that you have in stores. And as a result, they're getting extremely good sort of pipelines of candidates locally that do apply to their jobs. And it's sort of almost a free way of leveraging your existing traffic in a way. And you're not doing anything more than just, adding an extra tab to your Facebook page, really. So people are coming there spontaneously or because they're finding you, and then you're just offering them the opportunity on the site rather than outside the site to apply to your job.
Well, I think you've hit on a really key point there, Stéphane, and I think which a lot of companies could take some lessons from. You're talking about companies like American Apparel. We look at Matthew Jeffries going to talk, our headline speaker on Tuesday from Electronic Arts. They've built communities first. And then from the community, now we're adding, you should say, add the other tab. Now we can add, say, hey, we've got a community of fans. Here's something else that we do as a business. Here's our jobs tab. Maybe you'd be interested in working for us. I think so many companies are trying to go the other way and saying, well, we build a Facebook page and we're going to really go after and try and nail people for coming to work for us. But I don't necessarily have a relationship with that company yet on Facebook. So that to me then tends to be seemingly intrusive. So I think it's quite an interesting point that you've made. What else do you guys do? Because I know that it's not just the Work For Us app that you're involved in. You got some other things going on around the employment sector.
That's right. Yeah. So I'm also the founder of a company called Multi-Posting. We're the leading job posting solution based in Paris. And we are, we work with most of the large French companies, some of which are obviously global, like again the L'Oréal or Areva of the world. We've been doing that for 2 years and a half. It's going well. We are, 25 people company based in the lovely town of Paris. And that's also, to be honest, that's also what sort of sparked the idea of Work For Us, and obviously setting it up in a very different environment, which is Silicon Valley, which we found to be very relevant. But it was sort of this evolution in our customers on the job posting side that we're saying, great to be using job boards, but couldn't we add this other channel, which is Facebook, and how could we leverage that? And again, we came up with two ways really. One is obviously just posting the jobs, and two is leveraging the Facebook ad system.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. So you're competing with the eQuest and the Nolensteins and the Broadbeans of the world.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, and you're doing it with technology as opposed to the early days. The multi-posting tools, I remember, it used to be a bunch of people in a basement just putting the jobs into the job boards.
Gladly, I'm not doing this. Yeah.
No, great. Well, Stéphane, it's been fantastic speaking with you this afternoon. I'm looking forward to seeing you over here in London on Tuesday at the conference, and for your support at the event. What's the best way for people to get hold of you? Best email, best Twitter?
I mean, anybody can email me on my personal email. It's sleviet@work4labs.com. That's WORK4LABS.com. And then, if you want to hear about us, it's www.work4labs.com. So let us know what you think.
They're going to find you, and we're going to help push them there. Stéphane, fantastic. Have a great weekend. And,
thank you very much.
We'll see you on Tuesday.
Yeah, see you on Tuesday, Alan.